The only place on Earth that doesn't let you in. A place you can't even fly over. Do you know where it is? You guessed it, it's Antarctica. Not only is it the 5th largest continent in the world, it is also the cradle of mysterious legends. The real Antarctica is almost uninhabited. The population fluctuates drastically with the seasons. The permanent population is about 4,000 people in the summer, and in the long harsh winter, the temperature drops below -34 degrees Celsius. The permanent population is only about 1,000 people. The small population is not only due to the harsh climate, more importantly its geographical location is extremely remote. It is extremely difficult to reach. Even the closest human settlement, southern Argentina, is still about 1,000 kilometers from the tip of the Antarctic Peninsula. This 1,000 kilometers doesn't sound far, but it is separated by the world's most treacherous sea, the Drake Passage. As the end of the world of human civilization, this is the unimpeded confluence of the southern Pacific and Atlantic waters. It is also the only region in the southern hemisphere where winds and currents can circle the globe without being blocked by land. Currents and strong winds intertwine and swirl here, coupled with the collision of warm and cold currents, often stirring up monstrous waves. In extreme weather, waves can reach nearly 20 meters high, blocked by the Drake Passage and the vast distance. Humans did not witness the true face of this frozen continent until the 19th century. In 1820, a Russian ship completed the first Antarctic exploration in human history, recorded history. Even after more than 200 years, we still know very little about this place, especially beneath the ice sheet, which is kilometers thick. The Antarctic ice sheet covers more than 98% of the continent's surface. Only a very small amount of land is exposed. The average thickness of the ice sheet is over 2 kilometers, extending from the ice surface to the continental crust. The thickest area of the Antarctic ice sheet is nearly 5 kilometers, equivalent to the height of 6 Burj Khalifas stacked on top of each other. 61% of the Earth's freshwater resources are locked in this ice sheet. If the ice sheet were to melt completely, global sea levels would rise by about 60 meters. Most coastal areas would be completely submerged, leading to catastrophic consequences. It can be said that our current understanding of the Antarctic surface beneath the ice sheet is even less than our knowledge of the Martian surface. To explore the hidden realm beneath the ice, scientists did not choose to drill through kilometers of ice. Instead, they flew planes over Antarctica and sent radio waves into the ice. The subglacial topography was reconstructed by analyzing the reflected echoes. But Antarctica is larger than all of Europe. Completing a continental survey in this way is not only time-consuming and expensive, but also extremely cumbersome. Therefore, based on the limited survey data available, our understanding of the subglacial world is only preliminary. It is estimated that more than 90% of the area beneath the Antarctic ice sheet has not yet been mapped and remains in an unknown state. Even this small amount of survey information is enough to prove that the mysterious world beneath this largest ice sheet on Earth has long been extremely attractive. First, we already know that the land beneath the Antarctic ice sheet is not a complete continent as the ice surface suggests. If the ice sheet were to melt completely, its true topography would be revealed. The Antarctic Peninsula today is actually a collection of mountainous islands, known as Little Antarctica. The rest of the continent is Greater Antarctica, still above sea level, and roughly the size of Australia. Antarctica is divided into 2 parts, islands and the continent. The root cause is the completely different geological structure and evolutionary history of the two. Greater Antarctica in East Antarctica is composed of ancient igneous and metamorphic rocks. Lesser Antarctica is geologically younger, mainly composed of sedimentary and volcanic rocks. Interestingly, Lesser Antarctica belongs to the Pacific Ring of Fire. This continuous geological fault zone with active volcanoes surrounds almost the entire edge of the Pacific Ocean and has existed for about 35 million years. Therefore, the vast majority of islands in Lesser Antarctica are essentially volcanic islands. West Antarctic active volcano, even though its surface is covered by ice volcano. West Antarctic active volcano has been active since its discovery in the 1970s. Volcano. West Antarctic active volcano. The last eruption occurred in 2020. Volcano. West Antarctic active volcano. The average annual temperature around Mount Erebus is about -7 degrees Celsius. Volcano. The average annual temperature around Mount Erebus is about -7 degrees Celsius. During the Antarctic winter from April to September, the temperature is always below -20 degrees Celsius. In August, the extreme low temperature can reach -62 degrees Celsius. In this extremely cold environment, exposed skin can get frostbite within minutes. A cup of hot water thrown into the air will condense into snowflakes before it hits the ground. A place so inhospitable to life, it's hard for ordinary people to imagine life existing there. However, beneath the surface of Mount Erebus lies a whole new world that we are just beginning to understand. For millions of years, the continuous release of hot steam from Mount Erebus has eroded a network of interconnected tunnels in the ice layer beneath the mountain. The temperature inside these subglacial caves can reach up to 25 degrees Celsius. Even in the heart of Antarctica, one can feel comfortable wearing only a t-shirt and shorts. This means the temperature here is sufficient to nurture various undiscovered life forms. In 2017, a research team from the Australian National University SOUS, a research team from the Australian National University source, NUSH, collected soil samples from a subglacial cave on Mount Erebus source, NewsHub. Source, NewsHub. The samples contained not only traces of DNA from algae and moss, but also detected DNA from small animals. This part of Antarctica is actually a living oasis. Most of these animal DNA are similar to known species on the Antarctic ice surface, but some cannot be matched with existing species. They are most closely related to the genes of arthropods such as krill spiders, etc. This suggests that in the warm ice caves of Mount Erebus, there may be undiscovered arthropods living. There are 15 other active or semi-active volcanoes in Antarctica. West Antarctic active volcano. There are 15 other active or semi-active volcanoes in Antarctica. Volcano. West Antarctic. It is highly likely that tunnels and caves formed by hot steam erosion also exist beneath these volcanoes. Jolkar. West Antarctic active. It is highly likely that tunnels and caves formed by hot steam erosion also exist beneath these volcanoes. West Antarctic. It is highly likely that tunnels and caves formed by hot steam erosion also exist beneath these volcanoes. Jolkar. West Antarctic active. It is highly likely that tunnels and caves formed by hot steam erosion also exist beneath these volcanoes. West Antarctic active volcano. West Antarctic active volcano. There may be more than a dozen such living oases. Volcano. West Antarctic active volcano, and we currently know almost nothing about them. Volcano. West Antarctic active volcano. Aerial survey data from radio echo sounding. Volcano. Aerial survey data from radio echo sounding. Beneath the Antarctic ice sheet lies a vast and diverse landscape, with rolling valleys, riverbeds and hills, similar to the landscapes of other regions on Earth, but frozen in time, sealed beneath kilometers of ice. In 2019, humans discovered the deepest canyon on the Earth's land surface in Antarctica. If not for the ice cover, the Grand Canyon in Colorado would pale in comparison. This canyon is located beneath the Denman Glacier in Greater Antarctica, and reaches a depth of 3.5 kilometers below sea level at its deepest point. Antarctica. The deepest point is 3.5 kilometers below sea level. Grand Canyon. The depth is astonishing. Atlantic Ocean. Grand Canyon. This depth is comparable to the average depth of the Atlantic Ocean. This depth is comparable to the average depth of the Atlantic Ocean. About half the height of Mount Everest, and the lowest point of exposed land on Earth's surface, the shore of the Dead Sea at -413 meters MOUNTEVEREST. Mount Everest is only about 1/8 the depth of this Antarctic canyon MOUNTEVEREST. Although there are deeper ocean trenches, this super deep canyon hidden in Antarctica, sealed under kilometers of ice for millions of years, only discovered by humans in 2019. It's hard to imagine how shocking it would be to see with your own eyes. If it weren't for the ice cover, this deepest canyon on Earth's source, NAS, is just one of many geographical wonders hidden by the Antarctic ice sheet source, NASA. 1958, a Soviet Antarctic research team discovered a giant mountain range beneath the ice sheet. The Gamburtsev Mountains, named after the Soviet geophysicist Grigory Gamburtsev. The Gamburtsev Mountains are roughly comparable in length and altitude to the European Alps, stretching for about 1,200 kilometers, with peaks reaching 2,700 meters, but completely covered by over 600 meters of ice and snow. It's impossible to detect its existence above the ice surface. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of the unknown world beneath the Antarctic ice. From the late 1950s to the early 1960s, researchers detected a large area of gravitational anomaly in East Antarctica. The gravity here was much lower than naturally expected, stretching for 243 kilometers beneath the ice sheet, reaching a depth of 848 meters. For decades, 500 kilometers. Scientists proposed various hypotheses about its cause. August 22, 2006, August 24, 2006, scientists proposed various hypotheses about its cause. 1.0. It wasn't until 2006 that a research team from Ohio State University in the United States, using satellite data from NASA and the German Aerospace Center, confirmed that it was most likely an ancient impact crater buried by the ice sheet, with a diameter of 480 kilometers. Because this area is located in an extremely remote part of Antarctica, and is covered by kilometers of thick ice, humans have not yet been able to collect direct samples to verify this hypothesis. But its credibility remains extremely high. If this is indeed an impact crater, it would be the largest impact crater discovered by humans to date. About 3 times the diameter of the Chicxulub crater in Mexico. 66 million years ago, 10 kilometers low, an asteroid 10 kilometers in diameter struck the Earth, forming the Chicxulub crater 10 kilometerslong, considered a major cause of the dinosaur extinction 10 kilometers long. And to form this giant Antarctic crater 10 kilometers long, the impacting asteroid would need to be 40 to 50 kilometers in diameter, 10 kilometers long. equivalent to the distance from New York's Central Park to Connecticut 10 kilometers long 4050 kilometer width. Impact craters on the Earth's surface gradually disappear due to weathering. Wilkes Land C. Therefore the research team speculated. Wilkes Land crater that this impact occurred between 100 million and 500 million years ago. Wilkes Land crater. The geological structure of this region is also disturbed by a local rift zone. Wilkes Land crater. This rift zone formed about 100 million years ago. Wilkes Land crater, which was the period when the supercontinent Gondwana broke up and Antarctica separated from Australia. This time period has special significance. It roughly coincides with the Permian-Triassic extinction event, the most severe in Earth's history. This catastrophe occurred about 252 million years ago, also known as the Great Dying. This ancient catastrophe dealt a devastating blow to the Earth. At that time, 57% of biological families and genera completely disappeared. 81% of marine life and 70% of terrestrial vertebrates went extinct. This is the most severe mass extinction in Earth's history. Its exact cause is still not fully understood by humans. Perhaps the answer lies beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. If this area of gravitational anomaly is indeed a giant impact crater, its impact would have been powerful enough to severely damage the Earth, and even directly lead to the breakup of the supercontinent Gondwana. The immense force of the impact would weaken the Earth's crust in this region, eventually leading to the separation of Antarctica, Australia and India. In addition to various geographical wonders, there are about 675 subglacial liquid lakes hidden beneath the Antarctic ice sheet. Humans only began to discover these lakes in the 1990s, which is only a little over 30 years ago. Several of these subglacial lakes are located up to 3 kilometers deep beneath the ice sheet. The largest subglacial lake discovered so far is the famous Lake Vostok. In the early 1990s, a Soviet research team discovered this lake in East Antarctica. The findings were not published in the journal Nature until 1996 and became known to the public. Lake Vostok is hidden about 4 kilometers beneath the ice sheet. Lake Vostok is hidden about 4 kilometers beneath the ice sheet 1000 km. It is a vast body of liquid water 1000 km. SEDIM by water volume, it is the 6th largest lake in the world 1000 km. Water storage exceeds Lake Michigan in the US by 1000 km. OSTOKS water storage exceeds Lake Michigan in the US by 1000 km. The liquid water in Lake Vostok is 1000 km below freezing point. UOSTOK sediments average temperature is about -3 degrees Celsius 1000 km. EUOSTOK average temperature is about -3 degrees Celsius 1000 km. KEUOSTOK there are 2 reasons why it can remain liquid 1000 km. Lake UOSTOK is that there are geothermal vents at the bottom of the lake continuously providing heat 1.000 erm. LAKEUOSTOK second, the immense pressure from the 4-kilometer thick ice sheet above 1000 km. Lake UOSTOK lowers the freezing point of water 1000 km. Lake UOSTOK at the same time it insulates from the extreme cold above the ice surface 1000 km. But for many species adapted to extreme cold, enough to thrive and reproduce, Antarctic krill, icefish, Arctic cod and some starfish, sea urchins and mollusks can survive in sub-zero waters. So in the depths of Lake Vostok, what other unknown mysterious lives are hidden? More importantly, Lake Vostok is completely sealed by the ice sheet, isolated from the outside world for at least 15 million years. This means if there is life in the lake, it has evolved for tens of millions of years in a completely independent environment. In 2012, a Russian research team first penetrated the 4-kilometer thick ice sheet, reached the surface of Lake Vostok and collected water samples. However, this sampling was severely contaminated due to the lack of strict sterile treatment. Subsequent analysis found kerosene residue and external bacteria introduced by the drilling bit in the samples. A total of 255 known contaminating bacteria were detected. Even so, researchers still found at least one unknown bacterium in the samples, whose genes have no matching records in international databases. Considered a species unique to Lake Vostok. In 2015, the Russian team drilled a new well again, claiming strict sterile treatment and collected liters of lake water samples. But as of now, the analysis results of this sample have never been published. Most scientists studying Lake Vostok believe that even if there is life in the lake, it is most likely simple life forms like bacteria. This seemingly ordinary discovery has significant scientific meaning. It can provide clues for exploring life on other planets in the solar system, such as beneath the ice of Europa and Enceladus, where there are also liquid oceans several kilometers thick, perhaps also harboring simple life. But Lake Vostok may also harbor more complex life. In 2020, researchers Kobe Gura and Scott Rogers studied the subglacial ice of Lake Vostok, not only discovered more unknown bacterial genes, but also detected a ribosomal RNA sequence. This sequence is over 97% similar to the genes of Antarctic coastal rock cod. This is the first evidence in the scientific community that unknown fish may exist in Lake Vostok. Can dive services if an underwater drone equipped with cameras and lights can be deployed into Lake Vostok? If an underwater drone equipped with cameras and lights can be deployed into Lake Vostok, there would surely be astonishing discoveries. And an Antarctic expedition in 2021 also refreshed our understanding of subglacial life in Antarctica. In late December 2021, a New Zealand science team melted a small hole in the Campbell Glacier in West Antarctica. They had previously identified about 500 meters below the glacier a large liquid water cave formed by long-term erosion of underground rivers. But when the camera was placed in the hole, the footage shocked all the researchers. Hundreds of animals were swimming inside the cave source, Science News. Subsequent research confirmed these blurry orange figures are amphipod crustaceans. Similar in appearance to krill, these little guys immediately surrounded the exploration camera menu, completely obscuring the lens. This discovery confirmed that in the dark waters beneath the Antarctic ice, there exist multiple independent and active isolated ecosystems. They do not rely on sunlight, and have formed their unique survival modes in extreme environments. In fact, the currently ice-covered Antarctica was not always so. 90 million years ago, Antarctica was a warm, humid, dense rainforest. Lush vegetation full of life. Rivers meandered across the land. All kinds of life flourished here. Until 34 million years ago, the Earth's climate cooled dramatically during the transition from the Eocene to the Oligocene. Epochs. Antarctica officially entered an ice age. Snow began to accumulate year after year, eventually forming the thick ice sheet that now covers 98% of its surface, completely sealing off this ancient land. Parts of East Antarctica, the ice sheet is extremely thick and barely moves, like an airtight protective shield, isolating it from weathering and erosion by wind and rain, allowing the land beneath the ice to retain its original appearance from tens of millions of years ago. Traces of ancient rivers and valleys are perfectly preserved, becoming key clues for studying Antarctica's geological evolution and the breakup of the supercontinent Gondwana. It is also precisely because of the ice sheet's preservation that Antarctica has become a treasure trove of Earth's freshwater resources. But it also makes its melting a challenge for all humanity. Among them, the Thwaites Glacier, known as the Doomsday Glacier, has received the most attention. Google Earth data SIONOAA US Navy. Among them, the Thwaites Glacier, known as the Doomsday Glacier, has received the most attention. Google US Geologica Survey data SLO 7 NOAA. Its area is comparable to Florida. Google Earth Geological Survey data CO NOAA. Its area is comparable to Florida. It is currently melting continuously, contributing 4% of global sea level rise each year. If it were to melt completely, global sea levels would rise by 2 feet. Google Earth US Geological Survey data CO NOAA, causing devastating blows to coastal areas. Fortunately, research has found that even if its ice shelf collapses in the next 50 years, the retreat rate of the glacier itself will be much lower than expected. Antarctica's mystery extends further into the realm of space exploration. Scientists have conducted the ANITA experiment in Antarctica, releasing a giant balloon equipped with radio detectors into the Antarctic sky, specifically to detect ultra-high energy neutrinos from space. These microparticles have almost no mass and no charge. Billions of them are constantly passing through the Earth. They come from the sun supernova explosions, deep space, and even radioactive decay within the Earth. They can carry original data from the birth of the universe. And Antarctica, with no cities and no transportation, and almost no radio interference, is an excellent place for neutrino detection. When neutrinos collide with the ice sheet, they produce short radio wave pulses. This is precisely the signal the detector is meant to capture. However, anomalous phenomena that cannot be explained by existing physical laws have occurred during the experiment. The detector captured radio waves coming from the ice-covered horizon, propagating upwards at an extremely steep angle of 30 degrees. According to known physics, radio signals cannot penetrate thousands of miles of rock and ice, and rock would completely absorb such signals. This is definitely not a neutrino signal characteristic. The research team cross-verified data from the Antarctic Icecube Neutrino Observatory and all data from the Pierre Auger Observatory in Argentina. Pierre Auger all data from the Pierre